Good morning, everyone. People are already starting to come in. It's 8:05. We're about 10 minutes early. We have a lot to do this morning. We have a misdemeanor arraignments and lots of them. The prosecutor had asked that we set all the pre-trials on Thursdays. So we have about 30 of those in addition to what's in here. I asked Deborah whether it was okay. She said, yeah, I guess it was. So I don't know whether do them all on one day is the right answer or not. Anyway, I hope it's a good day where you are. We started out a little technical difficulty this morning, as we do about every other day. We've overcome it. And we're ready to do a long morning and a long afternoon. We have about 40 cases set for this morning. We have a bench trial on a domestic assault charge set at 10. We'll see what we're going to do with that. We'll turn the record on. And we'll start with Mr. Emmanuel Lee Poole. Mr. Poole, would you come forward, please? Good morning, sir.
Morning.
You got a ticket on May 30th, Lutz and Mintdale and Florence Township for driving with a suspended license. Plus you were going 70. So they stopped you for speeding and gave you a ticket for driving suspended. Your license is suspended. It says you don't have a license. You got a ticket in 2021 going 89 and you never paid it. So that's one of your problems.
That's
You don't have a license. That ticket that you got back in 2021 has never been paid. And you owe
I didn't realize
$228 on that unpaid ticket. Now, they used to suspend your license for not paying tickets, which I fully agree with. But when the criminal justice reform statutes came out, they took that away. So they no longer suspend your license for either not paying a ticket or not showing up. You have two problems. One, you don't have a license. And two, you have an unpaid ticket. This is the middle of the day out in the country. Let me tell you what the charge entails. Driving suspended is a misdemeanor. It's one of our most common offenses. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Carries 2 points on your driving record and requires that your license be suspended. So you don't have a license. So I'm not sure driving suspended is the actual correct charge. Let's see what the ticket actually says. It's more like no ops ever acquired.
Yeah.
You have an ID.
I guess it was a ticket that he just mentioned.
What would you like to do with this, Mr. Poole?
We're gonna, if I might suggest, his license issues might be cleared up if he takes care of something in Indiana.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
I
you
might
also have
ask-
Indiana issues.
yeah, so I think a little bit of time, if he act quickly and diligently, would be a great benefit.
All right. Has unpaid ticket. Yeah, there's nothing in here that says you can't get a license. Also Indiana issues. I'm going to set a pretrial with a prosecutor for today's June 10th. Set it for July 10th. Also want you to pay your ticket. I'll just give you a notice. Apologize in advance. I don't have very good writing. That's the ticket you owe from 2021. When you were driving Back to the Future at 89 miles an hour. So you got defaulted. You never answered it and it got defaulted and then it's just been sitting there. So you need to clear that up. And that'll help your situation with the prosecutor, and anything you can do to move forward with getting your license, bring that information with you too. You're not missing work, you're missing sleep, but we'll see you on July 10th. All right, you're good to go, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Got some more customers, a little late. We'll wait a little bit, Mr. George, but it doesn't look like your customer's gonna show up again, which is about par for the course. Brendan Keel. One of these is ordinance. One of them is state statute. You're Brendan
Yeah,
Peck Keel?
sure.
How do you say your middle name?
Pete?
Pig? Pig. All right, you got a ticket on May 25th for driving without any insurance and improper registration plate. Driving with no insurance is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail, fine of up to $500 and not less than $200. And no registration plate is $120. Those often go hand in hand if you don't have insurance because you don't have a proper registration. Then you like that so much, you got a ticket a couple days later on June 13th for driving with no valid operator's license. So let's take a look at this, because they didn't charge you with no ops in the May ticket. So 976. Yeah, you don't have a license. Well, they didn't charge you with that. On the first instance, they just charge you with no insurance and no registration. The second instance, wasn't actually set for today,
No,
but I
it's,
had them, except I had to move it ahead because you're here anyway. They didn't put it in my queue. Darn it. Maybe I'm just, no, there it is. I apologize. Yeah, you had an arraignment set next week and you're gonna be here anyway.
mhm.
That ticket from June 13th is driving without a valid license. That's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail, fine of up to $100 and 2 points. You were in Three Rivers at 8 o'clock at night. One address shows you live at Long Necker Road, Mendon, and the other is, there is no 4530 South Calhoun Street, Three Rivers. That isn't a real address.
That's my Indiana.
So
address.
what's the proper town? 4530 Calhoun Street, what town
Long 29080 Long Necker Road in Mendon?
is, all right. All right, to further complicate things, you drove here today without a valid driver's license.
I have no choice.
Well, I'll give you a choice. You could go sit back in a cell. What's the deal with your Indiana license?
So I don't even know why it got suspended in the first place, because it said when I called that I didn't pay my ticket, but I did pay my ticket.
So you may have an unpaid ticket in Indiana.
No, it was for my very first ticket. It was a speeding ticket, and it got paid. I got pulled over a second time, and that's when I got this ticket that we're here for. They didn't tell me that I had a suspended license.
Well,
then.
it's not suspended, you just don't have one. Now, if you had an Indiana license and it's gone, it should be charged perhaps as 257904A, no ops ever acquired. But they charge it just as no valid operator's license. That's different than driving suspended. No valid operator's license is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 90 days in jail, a fine of up to $100 and 2 points. But it doesn't require a suspension. You obviously are taking this very seriously. You get a ticket May 25th, you get a ticket June 13th, and you drive to court with your license being not valid, not having one. And I don't make the rules. They say you have to have a license in the state of Michigan to drive a car on a public highway. You have a different view of it. Do you have insurance now?
Yeah.
Who's your insurance carrier?
Progressive.
And is the vehicle properly registered?
Yes.
Whose name is it in?
Mine.
I'm surprised they'd give you insurance if you don't have a valid license. What's the status of your license? You don't know?
I have a license, but it said it was suspended.
All right, well, the other problem is you live in Michigan and you have an Indiana license. How long have you lived in Michigan?
A couple months now.
All right, who lives on Long Necker Road?
My grandma,
What's her name?
Deborah Franks.
Okay. Long Necker Road is officially not on the way to anywhere else, but what do you do, sir? What's your occupation?
I work over at Morgan Olson.
So you gotta get back. I suspect you drive to work every day.
Yeah,
What shift are you on?
first.
So you're missing work now?
Yeah.
Well, one of these is an ordinance case. Mr. George is here by happenstance. I set it for today so you wouldn't have to miss another day of work because you were already here. So you got no operator's license and you have no operator's license. You have no insurance, but now you have insurance. You have improper registration. Now you have proper registration. You drove here. You're gonna drive to work tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And what you need to do is go to Indiana, not call them on the telephone. Find out what you need to do to get your license straightened out.
I actually did.
Okay,
So I had to apply for an SR22. And they said after like 180 days, the suspension would be lifted, but I'd be okay to drive with it.
let me see what you got.
I don't have that paper with
Oh.
me, but I can pull it up on my phone.
Mr. Stickley, you got any thought here?
I know it's inconvenient for work or whatever, but it would be handy if you can, at least in he's not gonna get a Michigan license till he clears up Indiana, so a couple, 3 weeks would probably be very beneficial.
It would be. Now, the prosecutor will give him some consideration because he has valid insurance. Mr. George doesn't know what the deal is with the ordinance case. So I don't want to, split this up.
I think we should keep it together, Your Honor, give him 21 days.
All right, well, I'm not gonna go to July 10th because it makes Mr. George come here on a day he's not here, so I'll set it for a Tuesday. Now, what I want you to do is bring some paperwork from Indiana that shows what the deal is. Either come in with a valid Indiana license or start the process to get a Michigan license. Now, if you're suspended, I can't tell from what I'm looking at, the Michigan driving record shows you that address Calhoun Street was Fort Wayne, not Three Rivers.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know what you were doing and where you were going, but I'm not allowed to ask that at this point. This was in a car, not a motorcycle.
Yeah.
All right. Set, it is inconvenient. I don't want you to get pointed out at work.
I already let my boss know that I was gonna be here.
All right, I'm gonna set a pretrial. I'm gonna set it on a. Every day is just as bad as every other day.
They'll work with me if you can put it as any date.
I'm gonna set it for July 14th at 8:30. Well, we're off like a herd of turtles. We've had 2 cases and no progress. Tuesday, July 15th. I would put it on the 16th, but I'm using that day for some other stuff. Bring license and insurance. All right, let's talk about something else. You can drive home from here if you'd like to. In which case you'll get pulled over by the police between here and your house, and they'll impound your car and give you a new ticket for driving without a valid operator's license. So one option is to lock you up. The other option is to have you call somebody to come get you. I don't want you to get another no ops ticket, which you're probably gonna do because you're gonna drive back and forth to work anyway. If you're not driving away from the courthouse, you gotta call somebody to come get you. So I'll see you on July 10th and have somebody bring you. We got both the city attorney and the prosecutor dealing with this. You're not in a hole you can't dig out of. I've got lots of people who can't get a valid license for one reason or another. Too many drunk drivings. They don't have lawful residency status. Other reasons. This can be fixed unless you step on a few more landmines. So try not to do that. We'll see if we can get to the point where you're valid either in Michigan or Indiana. Did he get printed?
Yes, sir.
All right, the insurance charge requires it should be fingerprinted because it's punishable by up to a year in jail. Now that you have valid insurance, the prosecutor will probably be willing to reduce that to a civil infraction. The problem is, I'm not sure how you got insurance without having a valid license and registration.
I got it the day of my when I got pulled over, like not even 2 hours later, I got my insurance.
All right, well, I'm glad about that, and I'm happy you got it. I'm not sure how you got it without having a valid license.
I reopened my old insurance. I'm not sure.
All right, well, again, this problem could get fixed as long as you don't keep doing this. But you're gonna need grace from the county prosecutor and the city attorney to get there. Anyway, you go call somebody to come get you. I'll see you on July 14th at 8:30.
What do you want me to do with the ticket?
What?
You don't, what do you want me to do with the ticket? Do I pay it?
No, don't pay anything yet.
Okay,
And you had another appearance date
yeah, next
next week.
Tuesday.
I just took care of it today,
Okay,
so you don't have
just
to come back for that.
July 14th.
July 14th, I gave it to you in there.
Oh,
Yeah, come back to this day, don't come back this one.
All right, you're good to go. Hopefully somebody come pick you up.
okay.
All right, we'll keep plugging away here. Mr. George, I'm not gonna make you wait anymore. There's a chance that John Fox will show up. Although it was kind of helpful to have you there for that last case, so at least you'll know what the deal is. All right, thank you. Matthew Slavings. Good morning, sir. Are you Matthew Logan Slavings?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slavings, you got charged in file 25932 SM with no insurance and unregistered vehicle, same charges as the last guy. You have an unpaid speeding ticket that might be part of this same thing. Let me look at it. Oh, that's the last two. My hair was supposed to look like his, but it never did. His is a lot better than mine. Bill's about 50 years younger than I am, but mine never quite worked out. Like Troy Polamalu. You got a ticket for driving without insurance, unregistered vehicle out on Stolt Road at Canoe Road, which is by the Pleasant Lake Public Access. Driver stated no insurance. Were you going fishing?
No, I was actually hauling a trailer, full of brush from work. That's what the no registration's for. He hit me with that for a trailer.
All right, but it was a work trailer?
Yeah,
All right, let's take a look at your ticket, that speeding ticket. Where do you work?
Aspen, tree experts.
Were you driving an Aspen truck?
No, this was for my company.
Oh, okay. Keith, I got a couple bench warrants too. Shayna likes to give me those each morning. Where's the speeding ticket?
The speeding ticket was on
No,
131.
okay, it's a different deal.
Yep, different deal.
All right, let me find it. Yes,
Do you want me to see these?
yeah, please. I got three now.
Well, two of them are for the same person.
Okay. All right, you got that ticket. 60 and a 55, pretty minor ticket. And the date of that ticket was May. Oops, darn it. May 26th. All right, now let's get down to this case. Do you have insurance and registration now?
Yes, I have the registration paperwork with me and the insurance, the copy of proof of insurance is on my phone.
All right, why don't you show that to Mr. Stiglitz?
Okay, so the trailer was my grandpa's, so he got it registered, and then MATTHEW.
Your ticket is,
SLAVGS.
well, it doesn't, it's not late yet.
No, I was told I had till the 24th of this month. to
Yeah,
get it.
you do. You can't get much more of a minor ticket than 60 and a 55. I don't know anybody in the world that hasn't driven 60 and a 55, including Michelle. All right, Mr. Stickley's gonna take a minute here in a little bit and go talk to the prosecutor about your current circumstance. Let me repeat, if you didn't catch it, driving without insurance is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail. It carries a minimum fine of $200 and a maximum fine of $500. And it requires that you get fingerprinted. No registration is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100. Really, what the prosecutor wants and the court is for everybody to get legal. So they'll often work with people and reduce the charge if they come in with valid insurance. There's a lesser charge known as no proof of insurance, which is a civil infraction. It's punishable by a fine only. And that fine is $150. So have a seat when we take a break here in a minute. Mr. Stickley will go catch up with the prosecutors doing the pretrials and see what we're gonna do with those. Pedro Guzman. Thanks for keeping me organized there, Michelle. This is file number 251031. ST, People versus Pedro Daniel Guzman. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
You got a ticket for operating without a valid license, which is, used to be our most common offense till people started getting charged with no insurance. Did he show you that he has a license now?
No, Your Honor. So he does have a learner's permit. He's got an appointment on the 30th to get it wrapped up. So we'd be asking the court to enter a plea of not guilty today and then give him a little time after the 30th, with a little luck and some parallel parking skills, he should be okay.
How old are you, sir?
23.
If you don't do all the driver stuff when you're in high school, the driver ed, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it's kind of hard to get caught up later on. So I get many adults, including young adults like you, that just didn't do it and didn't get a license. So you've started the process. So you got a permit and you need to take your driver test. Do you have it scheduled?
It's on the 30th of this month.
I tell people, get one of those cars that automatically parallel parks, pull up, push the button and it'll park it. But some people, including me, are not very good parallel parkers. I have a long bed truck. Oh boy. So what we often do with these cases, Mr. Guzman, is adjourn them and let you come back in and show that you got your license. If this hits, if you get this no ops, it will ding you for at least 180 days. You won't be able to get a license, whether you pass the test or not.
Look at that, just one second. Your Honor, this gentleman is set to join the Marine Corps and go to basic training on July 8th.
All right, good for you. Well, let's accelerate things. We'll set this, your test is set for the 30th. Let's set this for July 1. And when you get in the Marine Corps, it'd be good to have a valid driver's license. Who knows, you might end up driving stuff. So will that work for you?
Yeah.
July 1st at 8:30. Marine license. Where are they gonna send you? Camp Pendleton?
Paris Island, South Carolina.
It's nice in South Carolina in July. Actually, South Carolina is very nice. Every time I've been there, I had a wonderful time, but I was never there in the middle of summer. That will be on a Thursday, oh, wait a minute, Tuesday. That's not a normal prosecutor day, but if you come in with it, Mr. Stickley can. Judge Patterson's gone that week, so I got double duty that morning, but we'll fit this in. Anybody willing to join the Marines, it's all right with me. Pretrial conference. 8:30, bring license. There's a lesser offense known as allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. And if you come in with a valid license, it's very likely the prosecutor will offer that. And that it won't go on your driving record, affect your ability to get your license. So I'll see you on July 1st. And hopefully you've got at least a slip that says you passed the test. And you'll be good to go. All right, thank you, sir. I'll see you on July 1st at 8:30.
Thank you.
All right, plugging away Christine Wheeler. Are you Christina Joe Wheeler?
Your Honor, that's a yes and a no.
All right,
That is my maiden name.
okay. How do you like to be addressed?
Well, it's a Hartman now.
Christina
um,
Harmon?
This paper came to me in the mail, and this is not me. I had no idea what it was. We came here as soon as we got the mail and talked to the person. And she told me that I was arrested for destruction of property. on May 12th.
Yes.
We haven't had a car, and so I can't go anywhere. And actually that day, it was a couple things besides crying because I didn't get to see my granddaughter on her 6th birthday. But I got a hold of a friend and I went to the store to get my mind off of that. Again, like I said, I've got
All right, so you're,
ID here. This is not me,
All right,
and we need to fix this.
all right. Let's take a look at the whole background. I had a case, this has happened a number of times over the years. Sometimes a brother will impersonate their brother or a sister impersonate their sister.
I just
Here-
want to know if it was.
All right, well, here's the deal. The charge alleges that on April 13th of 2025, that you did maliciously destroy a truck window that belonged to Thomas Caldwell. The destruction was less than $200. And it is alleged that in the affidavit that they went to Cato Lane regarding a felonious assault. I was met by a subject next to a silver Dodge Ram pickup, said he was Thomas Caldwell. His girlfriend, Christina Wheeler, had a disagreement that morning and it led to his window being broken out. He stated he and Christina were in the front seat of his truck because they're homeless. They had an argument. And you broke his window out. That's what the allegation is. Then you had a knife and they didn't charge that. So the allegation is that you broke a window belonging to Thomas Caldwell. Do you know a Thomas Caldwell?
No.
You've got an address of Hideaway Lane, Sturgis, is that correct?
Yeah, that's what's so confusing. I mean, the name address is kind of right.
Well, I've also had a situation where people said, this wasn't me,
Right, I mean, I get
and then it
that.
was. There is no other Christina J. Wheeler in here. You
If she
got-
was arrested, don't you have her picture?
I don't know that she was arrested. Let's take a
That's what
look.
they told me. in the
Yeah, we
office.
should. All right, so that person got arrested, posted bond. Uh, then did not show up for the arraignment. So rather than do a bench warrant, I did this order to show cause, and you came here today for the show cause. So thank you for that.
I never got the first
Um,
paper.
Christina Joe Wheeler, South Bend. DOB isn't in here. Yeah, DOB is same as yours. I don't know. I can't tell if it's you or not. Mr. Stickley, why don't you come up and take a look? That's her, isn't it?
I don't know.
I can't tell from the size of that picture. No tattoos.
I have tattoos.
I'm looking for an actual lien, which would show that. But there's not a criminal history in here. I don't know. I can't tell from that little thumbnail of a picture. And the fingerprints should establish it. But she hasn't been printed. I hate when they arrest somebody and don't print them. She didn't get printed. Well, Miss Wheeler, I certainly don't want you to, a couple problems. I don't know why they would arrest this lady. And she doesn't say, hey, I'm not Christina Wheeler. And there's a picture here, which could be you with longer hair. But it's such a small picture, I can't tell. And they didn't take your fingerprints, which is a sore point with me with the sheriff. When somebody gets booked in, they don't print them. I'm like, how do you know who they are? I think after all that, the safest thing to do is to get an attorney to assist you with this. If it isn't you, you have an absolute defense. You don't know Thomas Caldwell. This lady has the same name, same date of birth as you. Let's look at this.
My identity.
Same address. Where were you born?
Where?
Yes.
Sturgis.
Well, this lady says she was born in South Bend. Says she
I
has-
have my birth certificate too. I mean, I've.
All right, and said she has 6 children.
I only have 5.
Keith, you think it's worth presenting this to the prosecutor this morning? The problem is they're probably so overwhelmed with the.
I would go if she's here. I'd be happy to go chat with her.
All right.
if she's here.
Have a seat for a minute, and we'll have, I didn't bring the charge, the prosecutor did. And the police said it's you, this person said that was her name and date of birth and social security number.
You have the social security number?
Well, I don't want to.
Well, I'm just like,
They do have a social security number.
like, did she steal my identity completely or?
Same social security number.
Great. Somebody stole my ID. I gotta figure out how to fix that.
All right. Have a seat. This is, every day has got something different and that's really different. Now, so far, I haven't got one case back from pre-trials. I'm not sure what's going on there. When did you change your name to Harmon?
It's been almost 13 years.
Well, ma'am, stranger things have happened, and if we're gonna unscramble them, this is the time to try to do it. All right, we've got one more person to arraign. No, that's it. Although somebody came in late. Somebody came in late. Kiana Hope is here.
Killian?
Is late too. All right, we'll deal with him in a minute. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You're Kiana Camille Nicole Hope.
Yes, sir.
You got charged with driving without a valid operator's license.
Yes, sir.
And you didn't show up. You showed up for your arraignment. You pled not guilty. I set up for a pretrial with the county prosecutor and you didn't show up. Then you called and said you realized you missed court. So rather than do a bench warrant for your arrest, I did a order to show cause. So you're here, your mom brought you here, and I'm glad rather than get arrested for this.
Yes.
Have you done anything to get your license straightened out?
I have my permit. I got my permit renewed and I can take my test any day now. I just have to schedule it.
Very good. All right. The good news is I didn't enter a bench warrant for your arrest. I
Thank
figured
you,
your
sir.
mom would get you in here. And she did. And so I'm gonna do the same thing with you. Defendant has permit now. Plans to take test. When are you gonna take it?
The first week of June is when I was gonna schedule it, or July, first week of
All
July.
right, let's set this for pretrial for July 10. Where are you doing your practicing?
Parking lots, my mom's been taking me to like the Walmart parking lots to practice. It's just my parallel parking.
Yeah, the
lots.
tricky, you heard me say it, I'm not too great at it
Yeah.
myself. But, all right, let's hope you pass it. The prosecutor, same thing as Mr. Guzman, you come in with a valid license, the prosecutor should give you some consideration. How old are you?
18.
Well, it's nice to see you. I knew your dad. I know your dad. And your mom.
Yeah.
I think I told you that when I saw you the first time. Day of the week will be a Thursday, July 10th. All right, Miss Holt, let's hope you pass your parallel parking. Don't drive 89 and it's 55 like the other guy did earlier.
Of course.
And you should be okay, and hopefully you'll get that, and the prosecutor will give you some consideration, and then you can live happily ever after.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll see you on July 10th. We're gonna be
Great day.
busy that day. All right, let's take a break. Mr. Stickley's got his hands full with Miss Harmon's situation, and trying to figure that out. Let me just keep these for now. What do you need?
The advisor price that was up here for Mr. Killian,
Oh, yeah, we still got Killian. Where's he?
he's sitting right back there. Did you put the advice rights with her?
Possibly. This one has Matt Killian. Yeah, I did. Thanks. Here, just leave it right there.
Okay.
Mr. Killian's been here. I'm not sure. He didn't get on the list, but he's been here pretty much all morning. Let me pull your file out. Show cause, show cause.
He's a show cause, right?
No, he is a pretrial.
Oh.
Charged with driving suspended first offense. Defective equipment. And no proof of insurance. Let's take a look at your circumstance. You're Matthew Kyle Killian.
Yes,
File number here is 25955ST. You got a ticket at 4:36 PM at Dickinson Road and 131, driving suspended, no proof of insurance, and defective exhaust. That defective exhaust is a fix-it ticket, and if it gets fixed, they can dismiss it. Let's see why you're suspended. I looked at all these last night, but I can't remember that far back. Your license is canceled. April 16th of 25 in Indiana. Violation of out-of-state alcohol. You had an open intox here in Centerville in 24. No proof of insurance. Another drive-in suspended in 16. So you got Indiana problems. Do you know what the deal is in Indiana?
yeah, I gotta go, I got court, Monday down there, so I'm gonna see if I can get a taxi-lock to get, to restore my license.
What county is it in?
LaGrange.
All right, it's a OUIL charge? A drunk driving charge?
Yeah, I was on a 200cc scooter.
Oh, on a scooter.
Yeah, at my house.
And so you have a hearing Monday.
Yeah, the 23rd.
To try to get a interlock device. For a scooter or for a car?
Well, for a car. I mean, for my license back, but the offense was when I was on a scooter.
All right.
Kid's scooter.
Now, you haven't had a license in a while. Did you have a license in Indiana?
Yeah.
Well, you live in White Pigeon.
Yes, I just moved up here like a month and a half ago.
All right. All right, same thing. We'll have you come back on July 10th. We're sure gonna be busy that day. And bring your proof of Indiana stuff with you.
Well, is that like the Intoxilock thing or the,
Well, if Indiana gives you an intoxilock, the prosecutor can decide what to do with this. But you got no proof of insurance and defective equipment. Did you fix the muffler?
I just don't drive right now because I don't have a license. So my girlfriend, we work together. So she just drives. She got a license and
All right. We'll take a look at this. We're gonna be busy on Thursday, July 10. Bring proof of Indiana license. And insurance. Now, this is just a pretrial. If it's not resolved, you can still have a trial or an attorney appointed if you wish, but we'll see what you can accomplish next week in LaGrange County. So I got the Hebron Road address in White Pigeon. Is that
yes.
legit? All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
That circumstance where the lady wasn't printed at the jail is the quintessential case of why people should get printed when they get arrested. But I don't run the jail. I've also got a couple people that I could see from the jail while I've got Mr. Stickler. So in the meantime, let's call the people that didn't show up. Kevin Michael Engelmeyer has 2 counts of domestic assault. He has other charges pending. He's not in custody, at least he wasn't yesterday. He has another assault bound over to circuit court. He has a violation of bond conditions. And this one is supposed to have an attorney pretrial tomorrow, but I moved it to today. Mr. Truckee is his lawyer. Where's the other file? I thought I had the other case. I don't. Anyway, he is set for a pretrial tomorrow.
You rescheduled that to 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, it's set for 2 o'clock today?
Yes,
Oh,
because
okay,
he has health teams and stuff.
all right.
So it's always scheduled.
That must, he's still on here for this morning, so I didn't catch that. All right. Sebastian Gomez is charged with no insurance. Failed to appear. And then no cycle endorsement. We're gonna do a ordered show cause. Now, we were successful with both show causes this morning. People showed up. John Elmer Fox Senior has failed to appear, which is quite common. Mr. George was here. He has $753 of other unpaid stuff. And he appears on the right date and time about half of the time. This ain't the crime of the century. It's a disturbing the peace. I'm not gonna do an order to show cause. I don't even know where he is. Do a bench warrant. Bond, $500 cash or surety. We'll try a 48-hour hold. I've known Mr. Fox for about 45 years. When I was here as an intern in the summer of 1980. Anyway, John Senior, you need to get in here and deal with this orderly case. We schedule links also for 6:25. All right, I'll continue to. There's no reason why you sit here. Hi.
Josh has said the prosecutor's office will be dropping the cases.
Oh, interesting. I'd still like to get to the bottom of it. Let me do this one more. Terry Wayne Frost, file 251015, failed to appear on a no ops. Again, we'll do an order to show cause, which is a time suck. Craig Frost was with Grant Funk and Bob Seeger. I don't know if he's related. Fail to appear for arraignment, try order to show cause first. These paper clips are connected together like a Chinese puzzle from Cracker Barrel. All right, Mr. Gomez didn't show up, Mr. Fox didn't show up, and Ross didn't show up. So they're dismissing Slavings?
Correct.
All right, Mr. Slavings, would you come forward? All right, has insurance and proper plate. Usually they'd reduce it to no proof of insurance, but they're gonna dismiss. And I want you to go out and check on that speeding ticket and you're good to go. All right.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Harmon. We got a couple of bench warrants. I'd be happy if we could just do them now, so. What'd I do with Miss Harmon? Miss Harmon, the prosecutor is going to dismiss your charge, which solves some of your problems. But if someone is out there with your social security number, your date of birth, similar appearance, I can't swear that it wasn't you in the picture that I saw. But if I were you, I'd go here to the jail and inquire. I'd like to have them compare your booking photo to the person that was there. Because a couple things, whoever this is still at large, but I'm not sure why Thomas Caldwell would just say it was you. All right, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm anything you're about to tell me will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Absolutely.
All right, so your testimony is that the person that allegedly did the malicious destruction of property on April 13th, 2025 is not you,
Yes, sir.
and that you don't know Thomas Caldwell,
No, sir.
and you weren't living with him in a truck.
No, sir.
And you never got booked into the jail.
No, sir.
What?
No, sir.
All right. I don't know what to make of this. You've lived at that Hideaway Lane address for a long time.
15 years.
All right. My recommendation would you go out to the jail, because at some point there's a record at the jail that you got arrested. There's a picture, which I frankly can't tell whether it's you or not. If I had a bigger picture, I could see it. In fact, I'll let you see it. And that picture ain't very good. Shows you had long hair. Did you recently get a haircut?
No, sir.
No.
Actually, it's recently been growing because I had it really short.
Anyway, this lady is apparently willing to be you. She didn't say, I'm not Christina Wheeler. And whoever this Caldwell is said it was you. So I'm confused. You have a birth certificate, says you're born in Sturgis. This lady says she was born in South Bend. Was your birthday 1975?
Yeah.
All right, case is dismissed. She was not fingerprinted here.
No, sir.
And the case is, I'd like to have one set of fingerprints on file, but if we print her, it's gonna go to that case. So I'm not gonna order prints at this time. The case is dismissed.
Yes, sir.
But I would go out to the sheriff's department, see what you could confirm. Did Josh send any of those 20 pretrials in for a plea?
He's in his office. I'm not aware. I don't know.
I don't know who's doing them.
There is a hall full of people.
Is there?
There was, yeah.
Uh, I don't even know if they know they got them. There's 20 of them. Oh boy, that's gonna be, there's dozens of 20 people here. All right, well, let's take care of our in custody people as long as I've got you, and I'm not sure what the status of those pretrials is.
I didn't even get my regular email yet. Do we have any in custodies today?
We do. Well, I have 2 and Judge P has 2. I have Casey Willis and Autumn Long.
Or both? You're talking about both. They're both polys.
Yes. All right, Mr. Munoz, why don't you come up to the podium there while we're waiting for the jail. This is file number 25. Got screwy numbers. 905723ST. You're charged with a misdemeanor plate violation. Failed to display a valid license and speed. Prosecutor Davis has agreed to dismiss all of those charges for a plea to allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. That one carries no points. It doesn't get abstracted to your license, won't affect your ability to keep or maintain your driver's license. Did you try to get a valid license?
I do have a valid
Oh,
license.
very good. So are you willing to plead to that charge of allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're gonna get a $225 fine. Other than that, did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to this
No, Your Honor.
or threaten you?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand if you do plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury?
Yes,
There
Your
won't
Honor.
be a trial. If there was a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. All you had to do is ask me and I could appoint an attorney to represent you, or you could hire one of your own choosing. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand and testify in your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent unless they were able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You got all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, where were you going that day on May 7th?
To work, Your Honor.
And you didn't have a valid plate and you didn't have a valid license at that time?
I did. The officer just seemed confused. Didn't really seem like he knew what he was doing.
Did you have it in your possession?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you didn't have a valid plate?
Yes, Your Honor. I did have a valid plate.
Well, were you speeding?
No, Your Honor.
Well, that means you aren't guilty of anything. Do you have your license with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't want to convict you of something just because it's expedient. All right, this was on 5/7. Your license was on
I
5/20.
turned 21, sir. Your Honor, I do have the license of that time.
Yeah, license didn't expire until June 3rd. Oh, all right, hold on, sir. These are screwy. No, right now I got a bunch of, let me hold on to those. I'll be with you in a minute, ma'am. I got in something. Well, they weren't speeding. It didn't have an invalid plate and he had a license. So I'm not sure where that leaves us. Good morning, John. Do you need to speak to Mr. Harvey?
Yeah, I know they're gonna take me as soon as they. clear the
All right.
security.
He's now got about 7 days jail. I didn't know if that would resolve the
I
case.
just found out he was in jail this morning. So
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I saw there was a bond violation.
Keith was here. You were in Three Rivers. Munoz. All right, so you got this ticket on May 7th at 4:16 a.m. Where were you going to work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where do you work?
I work in, at that time, I was working an hour away at Sunset Park RVs.
Yeah, the RV shops all start early. The improper plate, no ops in possession, speeding, 71 and a 55. You weren't going 71 and a 55?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. When I looked, down, I was definitely not going that fast. I don't know if his LiDAR detector was off or something.
Did you not, did you have your license in your pocket?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Oh, well, okay, that gets us over the hump. You didn't have it with you, so that's called no ops in possession.
Yes.
That's a misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to.
The officer, sorry, Your Honor, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
The officer said that if I took my license to the police station and showed him proof of my valid license, that they would let that go. And clearly he didn't know what he was talking about because he did not do that.
All right, well, they're gonna do it here. They're gonna get a
Yes.
different charge, but it's not
Yes,
gonna
Your
go on your driving record. I confess, I do this crime from time to time when I drive away and leave my wallet in my desk.
It's so early, Your Honor. Sometimes you just forget.
And then I get home and realize I don't have my wallet. Anyway, so it ain't this terrible. I believe you probably were going 71, but anyway, this isn't gonna go on your driving record. It isn't gonna affect your ability to keep or maintain your license, and it doesn't carry any points. So the fine is $225. It's due 30 days from now, which would be July 18th. Can you pay that by then?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're good to go, sir.
Where would I pay it, Your Honor?
Right out here. You pay it right out here. Or you can use a credit card or mail in a check or money order. But if you want to pay it right now, you can just go to the counter and take care of it.
I could also pay online.
Yep.
Right, that works. Thank
And
you.
this won't affect your license, so you're good to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, took a while to unscramble that. And let's get back to where we got here. Good morning, ma'am. What's your name?
Casey Willis.
All right, Miss Willis, let me get your file. I'm Judge Middleton. And also with me is the distinguished Mr. Keith Stickley. He is the Chief Public Defender for St. Joseph County. Normally, we would do these in the afternoon, but I've got a very busy afternoon and a very busy morning, but Mr. Stickley was here with me, so we thought we would address this now. You got two cases. First file is 24390 SM. That's a misdemeanor. In this case, it's alleged that on or about January 14th of 24, you did an assault upon Joan Gritzmacher, a resident of your household. That's charged as a domestic assault. You were arraigned on that charge, posted bond, and then you promptly didn't show up. Posted bond over the weekend, waiting on jail, failed to appear for arraignment. I did a show cause. You failed to appear and you got arrested last night, June 19th. How'd you get arrested last night?
I actually was picked up in Kalamazoo on Monday. And there was a hold for St. Joe.
Do you have a new Kalamazoo charge?
Yeah, I do.
What's that?
Possession.
Of which?
Of a narcotic under 25 grams.
So it'd be heroin or fentanyl?
Yeah.
All right. So you went off the grid on that one. That allegedly happened January 14th of 24. You already had a warrant out. On a charge of possession of cocaine. Let's take a look at that one. It might not actually be cocaine.
It's not.
In that case, the allegation is that on or about April 17th of 23, you possessed fentanyl as a second offender, making it a 8-year, as a habitual offender, making it a 16-year offense. You posted bond on that one and promptly never came back. You were in the Kalamazoo County Jail, and then we checked and you weren't in jail. You didn't show up and you got arrested last night. So I'm gonna set the bond. First of all, in the felony case, I'm going to show a plea of not guilty. I'm going to appoint an attorney. I'm going to set a pre-exam conference for July 1st at 8:30. And if a preliminary examination is needed, it'll be July 8th at 1. The original bond was $7,500 PR and you failed to appear. I'm going to set bond at 7,500 cash or surety with the following conditions: no drugs and no alcohol, no weapons, no assaultive behavior, and that's it. Are you on probation or parole in Kalamazoo or just bond?
Just bond.
Do you have charges anywhere else?
No.
On this domestic violence charge, you got arrested actually on both of these at the same time and then promptly didn't appear on either one. On the DV case, I'm gonna show.
I had a massive heart attack the day of my court hearing, and he passed away this past March, but that is why I missed my court. I'm typically not a flight risk.
All right, we have a Dorset Street address in Portage, is that correct?
Correct. It's my mom's address.
Who is Joan Gritzmacher?
It's my ex's mother.
All right. Appoint an attorney, set attorney pretrial for 7/1/25. Bond on that case was set at $2,000 PR. Will now set it at $2,000 cash or surety. To say you're not a flight risk is not accurate. You didn't show up on the cocaine charge. Then you got arrested on both charges. You didn't show up, excuse me, on the domestic violence charge. You got arrested in June on the fentanyl charge and the DV, and then you probably failed to appear for both of those. You've been AWOL for 2 years. We're here all day, every day. All you do is contact us. And you get arrested on a new fentanyl charge. Are you going through withdrawal right now?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm sorry, that's pretty rough. I'll talk to the jail services, but right now, you're in a safe, clean place. I will see you on July 1st at 8:30, and we'll get an attorney to come see you. If you do post the bond, you need to contact your lawyer. Otherwise, your lawyer is going to come see you at the jail.
Okay.
All right,
thank you.
well, so you're good to go. Good morning.
Good morning.
You wrapped that up like you know what you were doing. This is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the courthouse. Are you Autumn Ray Long?
I am, yes.
Ms. Long, you have an old retail fraud charge. The allegation is that on November 16th of 2022, you were at the Menard store with a co-defendant and stole more than $200 worth of stuff. Let's go specifically into it.
Okay.
Alleges that a co-defendant named James Anthony and you were in the Menard store in Three Rivers and stole property worth more than 200 but less than 1,000. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and fine of up to $1,000. They have video of this. We don't get a lot of cases from Menards, but some. Actually called the state police tech. Guess it's outside the city limits. And they advise that you and James Anthony were, and they observed you on video removing multiple items from the store and putting them in your purse. James was using a scooter. They did a inventory of the stuff you took and it was worth $100. So that was the charge. You got arrested and they set an arraignment. You posted a bond in the amount of $300 cash or surety, and were given an arraignment date of August 28th of 23. You didn't show up. So I did a show cause to give you another chance to come September 14th. You didn't show up for that. So at that point in September of 23, almost a year after the fact, we issued another warrant for your arrest and forfeited your bond that you had posted. And you apparently got arrested last night.
Yes.
How'd you get arrested yesterday?
I was walking down the street and, I had a warrant. That's what I was arrested for, was for my warrant.
This warrant?
Yes.
All right, where were you walking? What
Montville.
Who stopped you? The state police?
No, the county did. I'm not sure what his name is.
What time was that?
Maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think.
You knew you had a warrant. Don't give me your street address, but where do you live right now?
In Sturgis.
At the Prospect Street address?
That is correct.
Do you actually live there or just use it as a mail address?
Well, it's my dad's house. I was living there. Right now I was staying with a boyfriend in Montville, but I don't live in Montville.
All right. What's his name?
Anthony Montgomery.
So it's the same guy. Let's see what happened to him.
No, the Anthony Montgomery, is not who the charges were with from Menards. That was
That's
James Anthony.
All right.
Correct, correct.
Who's he to Anthony?
I'm sorry.
Who, are they related?
No, not at all.
Right. James Montgomery.
No, James Anthony is the one from Menards, and Anthony Montgomery is who I'm dating.
All right. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Well, he pled, he got arrested. And the prosecutor dismissed his charge. Don't know why. What happened to him?
Anthony Montgomery?
Yes.
I'm not sure. We were both
No.
arrested yesterday.
No, James Anthony. What happened to him?
I haven't talked to him in years. I have no idea. I know he went to prison for something else, but I'm
I
not
think
sure.
I think that's why he went to prison. I know that's why he got dismissed. All
But I
right,
know
so the
that when
question is, what do I do with you?
I know
You
that when
blow
I
off this thing. You wait around for 2 years to get arrested. I gave you 2 chances to come. You forfeited a $300 bond. Are you employed?
I am, yes.
Where do you work?
I clean houses and I help an elderly lady shower 3 times a week, and I clean her house and I do her yard work and stuff. I work Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
All right, if I give you a bond, will you show up?
Yes, sir.
Or otherwise, I can set your bond at about $10 million and you can stay in jail till the next pretrial date. I'm very disappointed in this, that you just blew it off twice and then just waited to get arrested. I'd like to inquire more about it, but I'm not going to. So you're local, you're sort of employed, you don't have any other charges. That's the kind of case I'm supposed to set a PR bond on, even though I'm not very happy that you blew me off twice. I'm gonna appoint an attorney. Will somebody come get you from the jail?
Yes.
I want you to come directly from the jail to the courthouse. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, and report to the district court.
Okay.
I'm gonna set an attorney pretrial for July 11th at 8:30. I got about 85 cases set that day. I'm gonna set your bond at $500 PR. And if you don't show up, I'll set it at about $5 million PR. This is not the world's most serious crime. You need to address this rather than just ignoring it. And then what happens is you get just pulled over one day and you go to jail. So will you promise me that you'll show up on July 11th?
Yes, sir.
And you'll come directly here to the courthouse and get your paperwork?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you on July 10th with about 100 other people. Josh,
So today I come straight to the
July
courthouse.
11th, Friday. What's that?
When I get released today, I come straight to the courthouse today to get paperwork and then come back July 11th.
Yes, I'm gonna set bond conditions, no drugs or alcohol. enter Menards.
Okay.
What did your boyfriend get arrested for yesterday?
I'm not sure. They wouldn't tell either one of our charges in front of each other. Mine, I found out yesterday when I was on my way here.
Well, you must have known what it was, but
Well,
we'll see.
Yeah, I knew that I had a show cause, but I wasn't sure what his are.
All right, I'll see you on July 10th, 11th, Friday, the 11th.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. All right, this is file number 25366 SN, People versus James Harvey. Good morning, Mr. Harvey. You've been in jail about a week now, and you look good. No offense, but that week in jail, I think did you some good. This is the time and date set for a bench trial on a charge of domestic violence. It is alleged that on February 28th, that you assaulted Kylie Wilma, someone you had a dating relationship with, and Grayson Lewis. It was an assault and battery. We had several pretrials in this matter, and you agreed to have the matter set for a bench trial this morning. And I appreciate your faith in me. You were willing to have this matter tried in front of a judge alone rather than the jury. So we set the matter for trial this morning. Last week, there was an allegation of another bond violation, and I canceled your bond after a hearing, and the matter was set for this morning. I'm advised by Prosecutor Davis and your lawyer that an agreement has been reached, and you're going to enter a plea this morning pursuant to a plea agreement. Is that your understanding, Mr. Harvey?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Davis, could you fill me in here?
Sure. So, Your Honor, I don't believe he's been arraigned on the OWI yet.
He has
based on
not.
What I'm seeing, but Attorney Bush has agreed to represent him through the MIDC contract on that OWI, and we can make it a part of a package deal today to resolve all of his open cases. So I believe there's a bond violation that was pending too, but we would dismiss any.
I think I did that.
Take
That's
care of
why
it
he's in
already?
jail right now.
Okay, so I don't believe there's any other cases besides the OWI and then this domestic violence and assault and battery. So the agreement would be that he would plead to a DV first, but we would agree to delay the sentencing for that for 6 months in order for him to seek substance abuse counseling, mental health counseling, which would include getting an evaluation, following the recommendations of that, taking medication as prescribed, and signing releases so that we can monitor that. If he is compliant with that, then at the time of sentencing, we would reduce the domestic violence to a disturbing the peace. With the OWI case, he would be agreeing to plead.
Slow down a little bit. Let me get this. All right.
For the OWI case, because he does have a prior, and I believe 2019, we would agree that he could be referred and put into sobriety court, and that it would be an OWI first that he would enter a plea to. And the thought is that no further jail time up front. We want to get him referred and started in sobriety court as soon as possible so that he can get going on that. And again, these would be kind of running at the same time, the sobriety court, probation for the OWI, and the 6-month delayed sentencing, as long as he is compliant with what they are asking him to do, then we would reduce that domestic violence to a disturbing the peace, and he would continue on in that sobriety court probation. And we did discuss that if he fails, bombs out, has assaultive or threatening behavior, or drinking alcohol, whatever, that would result in a bond violation, and he would be brought before the court as soon as possible, and the deal will be off the table as far as the DD.
All right. The complaining witness, Ms. Wilma's been here every step of the way. Are you on board with this?
Yes, I do agree with that.
Any luck with that?
No.
Would you like me to email you the OWI report?
Well, I can't take a plea till we have an actual file on it. But yeah, let's talk about this. Mr. Harvey, this is an interesting plea agreement. You're charged with domestic violence and assault and battery. You're gonna enter a plea to
Domestic violence
domestic
first.
violence, first offense. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500 and would prohibit you from using or possessing a firearm. The prosecutor has asked me to use a special deferral statute. We don't use it a lot, but it does allow the judge to defer sentence for up to a year. In this case, she's asking for a deferral for 6 months, which would take us into December. And if you comply with their directives, and they're a little bit unclear, but you're to get a substance abuse evaluation, you're to sign a release, participate in treatment, either mental health or substance abuse or both. You're also at some point going to enter a plea to an operating while intoxicated first offense, charged as a second offense. They're going to recommend that you be placed in the sobriety court program. Now, that's not a done deal, that we have to have an assessment and make sure you're eligible. Personally, I believe you could greatly benefit from sobriety court program. I'd be all over you and we'd be working together, try to get your life in a better place. But so far, we don't even have the complaint. Ms. Davis thinks it was sent on June 9th, but our file, we don't show that we've received it. But at some point, we're gonna receive it. Mr. Bush has agreed to represent you in that case. Drunk driving, a second offense, also known as operating while intoxicated, is punishable by up to a year in jail, fine of up to $1,000, 6 points on your driving record, and requires that your license be suspended. If you go into a certified sobriety court program, you could actually get your license through the program with an interlock device as a restricted license, would let you drive back and forth to work. In fact, that's your only avenue to get a restricted license, with a very narrow exceptions for 5 years. Every time I've seen you since you were a kid, you've always been polite, respectful, you're here on time, but you have a terrible alcohol problem. And if you could stop, you would. But it isn't that easy. It's like holding your breath. At some point, you got to breathe in. Sobriety court has a number of components. It has treatment in the form of a private therapist. It has a group setting where you're in a group treatment program that I pay for. You participate in AA or Celebrate Recovery or other report group or support group. We test your urine several times a week to make sure you're not using any drugs or alcohol. And you meet with me as part of your punishment every 2 weeks so I can poke around in what's going on with your life. It's a probation where people actually care about what happens. Not that they don't care in the other ones, we just spend a lot more time on these. So I can't arraign you on that charge yet because I don't have it yet. But let's talk about this domestic violence charge. My understanding is you're going to plead no contest to domestic violence or domestic assault.
He has somewhat hazy memory of exactly what happened.
All right. Having a hazy memory is one of the reasons for no contest. By pleading no contest, you don't admit what happened, but you also don't deny what happened, and you allow or accept that a conviction will enter. This happens when people are sometimes intoxicated, they don't completely remember. sometimes they hit a tree in a drunk and they wake up in the hospital, they don't remember anything. There are other reasons for no contest, but lack of memory is one of the primary ones. So are you gonna plead no contest to the charge of domestic assault from February 28th?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threaten you to get you to do that
No, Your Honor.
or promise you anything?
No, Your Honor.
To understand that if you do plead to that charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury, and there will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Bush is representing you in this case, and he's always welcome to represent you in the next case, which kind of reflects on you, which means you're the kind of client that listens to their attorney and complies with court orders for the most part, rather than, so he's willing to accept you in the next case too. You could also hire an attorney if you wished. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify in your own behalf. But you don't have to, because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand?
Yes.
You've heard me say all that before, but so let's talk about this. I did get a bond information booking sheet from Officer Etter, who's here today. They were dispatched to an allegation of assault at 430 Second Avenue in my old neighborhood. And they saw you jump over the fence, the house on East Michigan Avenue. This was 1936, so about 7:30 at night, which will be dark in February. Then they found you and put you in the car. Spoke with Kylie Wilma. She said she and James have been dating for 3 years. Kylie said she came over to the residence because she saw James' location, knew he'd been drinking. Kylie said James was sleeping on the couch and she tried to wake him up. Once she woke him up, he was very angry, or he swung at her and struck her in the back of the neck with his forearm. And her son got involved. Okay, Diana's looking for the warrant at your end too, and we're looking for it at our end, so maybe between the two of us, we can figure out where it is.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it, and I could see why you're drunk, you're asleep, you wake up and end up hitting her in the neck. Then her son gets involved, and then that's not good either. All right, I'll use factual basis from bond report. Six months from now, we're in the holiday season. I set this for sentence for December 15th. That's somebody's birthday. At 10:30. Mr. Bush, I'm assuming your calendar's good for that.
I put that far down the road. I'm okay.
At this point, yeah, we're not to the point where we have to schedule people 6 months out to get a clear date, but I'm pretty sure that we're
I'm not concerned at all.
good for that date. Let me see what your blood alcohol was that night. 0.198, so that's. What's your drink of choice?
Captain Morgan.
Well, that'll do it. And every time we've had you here, your blood alcohol's been very high. And so you've got quite a tolerance. Did you feel like you were going through withdrawal when you've been sitting in the jail for the last week?
No.
No, that's a positive thing. Because your bond is going to continue to say no drugs and alcohol. So 2 times so far you've been locked up. But you can't stop without doing something else. So I want you to start going to AA or Celebrate. I want you to get plugged into Pivotal or other treatment provider. And we're gonna need to get a date for your arraignment on the drinking driving charge. I wish I could take care of it now, but I can't find it. Because I don't want you to get arrested on a walking down
We
the
could-
street or something.
We could certainly have it be a summons.
All right.
If the warrant hasn't been processed by district court, yeah, we could switch it to requesting a summons. Hopefully within the next few weeks. The idea is we want. to
Here's
change it.
Diana. She's the person that always has all the answers.
Okay, so Your Honor,
Okay.
the sheriff's department has not gotten us an affidavit, but I don't think they realized that now he was in custody, so she's gonna take that to Shayna so that you can just
All
arrange
right.
him.
We will send you a summons and with notice to Mr. Bush on the new charge.
Looks like he's gonna be at that Haber Drive address.
We would ask that the no contact be lifted, discuss that at length with the victim. And we believe that with the bond conditions in place of no drinking, having him testing, no assault or threatening behavior, and hopefully getting into sobriety court, that it will be a safe situation.
Well, if he was in sobriety court, I'd be very comfortable because our staff will be on him, the DRC will be working with him, I'll be seeing him regularly. He'll be going to treatment. It's gonna take a little while to get from here to there. Miss Wilma, do you have any objection to lifting the no contact provision?
No, I don't. I'm not like concerned about.
I think our concern was where he's going to stay and making sure that he's in an environment that supports his sobriety and. her
Who lives at
home is-
Hubbard Drive?
Well, that's her
Okay,
place. So, and if he's not permitted to go there, then her concern is that.
I'll let him go there, but it might put her lease in jeopardy. He's not on the lease, but that's up to her, I guess. The other thing is, I'm gonna let you out of jail. Now, we have a bit of a wrinkle here. I put everybody on notice. John's aware of this. He works for a company and I know his boss and known him since he was in high school. My wife had him as a student. She's recently hired his company to power wash my house and work on my roof. So you might be at my house.
All right.
So don't fall off my roof or break a window or something, but I know your boss is probably chomping at the bit for you to get out of jail. Yeah. So has he held your job for you?
I believe so.
All right, bond remains no alcohol. Test on demand. Enroll and treatment at Pivotal. Get an alcohol assessment. No assault or threatening behavior. And what we're trying to do.
Miss Davis would also like him to sign a release.
Oh, yes, thanks.
And then if it's possible, he was on the Scram tether prior on his probation, which was very successful for him and keeping him from drinking. If that's something that we could institute for his bond until sobriety court gets started.
Well, if he's eligible for it, otherwise it's gonna be very expensive.
Or even just color call-in testing at DRC, some sort of testing. So
He's
that it's
gotta,
not
then
just-
he's gotta pay for it, and it's very expensive. When we get him into our, if he's eligible for, was he on pretrial services?
Have you had to deal with MIPS Bliss?
Yes.
He says yes to that.
All right, return. I think it got dropped and then never got picked back up. It doesn't have to be this bad. You and Miss Wilma can have a much better relationship. You can have a better relationship with her son. You can feel better at work. You can feel better in general. You can lengthen your life by about 30 years if you can stop drinking to the great excess that you do now. Now, you're killing the pain with alcohol. And to make sure you kill it, you drink about 3 times more alcohol than you could have to legally drive a car. Like I said, the day you were here, you were a 1.7 and you were walking, talking. We weren't even quite clear, except one of the spies smelled alcohol on you, and we followed up on it, and holy smokes. So, as I said, you seem like a nice kid. Your boss likes you. You just need to get sober, or you're gonna have a rotten rest of your life. And you can't do it unless somebody like me is standing over you with a stick. You also have a carrot that you may be able to get your driver's license with an interlock, so you can get to work and treatment and other stuff. So the bond was originally posted and I revoked it. Canceled it. So I'm gonna reinstate bond. What was it originally? $7,500, which you already forfeited with quick bail bonds. I'm not gonna make you post another one. Reinstate bond of $2,500 PR with conditions as above. Debbie, do you know if any more pretrials were coming in?
I don't, Abby has been handling those all morning.
All right, we'll see how that goes. We had a bunch of them, and I only got 2. All right, Mr. Harvey, the first couple of days are gonna be the hardest. You're gonna, as soon as you get out of jail, you're gonna want to drink. Do you smoke?
Yes.
Well, the first thing you want to do is have a cigarette. Second thing you want to do is have a drink. I can't stop you from smoking cigarettes. But you had a good head, you had a 7 or 8 day start on not smoking cigarettes.
I said I was gonna switch to gum. and
That might be a start. Maybe try Nicorette. But you can't drink any alcohol because you can't have one.
Yeah.
You have 14. And you buy the Captain Morgan by the half gallon and it's killing you. You got somebody that actually cares about you. There's reason enough to try to get it together. All right, I'm still waiting for this paperwork. We didn't have it, but prosecutor staff got it down there and they're processing it. And so we'll start that. John, my thought is, I don't have enough to do on July 11th. I only have about 95 cases, but we'll arraign him, show a plea of not guilty, appoint you as his attorney, set a pretrial. It might even be wise to go to August 1st.
Is there any reason why you can't enter the plea today?
No,
Yeah, I think that was what,
Yeah, it was,
that would get him into the system.
it certainly would.
So I'm running a little bit there. I mean, I was there, so I remember it was an
Yeah.
accident and that personal knowledge he drove here, but I've not seen a police report, but I'm not uncomfortable if we can enter the plea today. That's what he wants to do.
All right, there is a wrinkle that potentially you could be a witness against him. But I think he can waive that.
I believe that he can waive any conflict. There's certainly other raised just eyewitnesses. So I don't think it's an issue.
All right, well, that would be great, Mr. Harvey. That shows you're ready to jump in and and I'd much rather sooner rather than later. You're salvageable. And it doesn't appear we got any more pre-trials coming, so we're not in a terrible time crunch.
We're getting a lot accomplished this morning.
Yes, that's worthwhile. And at some point, when we're done, they can pick you up at the jail. You're right, Deborah. It does show a violation of bond condition. I think you're right. I think I didn't find the bond violation. I canceled his bond and set it for a hearing on the bond violation for today. So you're also willing to dismiss the bond violation?
Yes, and I just want to make it clear to talk to Mr. Bush already, and I believe you confirmed it with this client. There is a warrant request for authorization on a malicious destruction of property for a broken window from that incident. And as part of this, with the plea to the OWI sobriety court, he would agree to pay the restitution, which is estimated at $250, and I would decline to authorize on that account and dismiss the bond violation. And I would note that his PBT on the 12th, when he got taken in for that, was a 0.208 at the jail, and he had driven his vehicle to and from Miss Wilma's apartment. So again, I would ask the court to consider having pretrial services.
I did order it.
And a scram.
I was on a phone call, I couldn't get off, I'm sorry, that took so long.
Thanks, Shane.
I'm sorry.
And they are still working on retrials.
Oh, boy. Yeah. We need to start those right away at 8:30, not at later. All right, Mr. Harvey, let's talk about this. In for a penny, in for a pound. Been saying that a lot lately. Won't use a penny anymore. I want you to say what, in for a nickel, in for a $5. All right, this is file number 251157 SD, People versus James Jonathan Harvey. That's you, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
The allegation is that you were operating while intoxicated as a first offense on May 15th of 2025. That is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. I believe you have a prior drinking driving charge, but it might be too old.
It's in 2019.
Yes, but they didn't charge it as a second offense, it's charged as a first offense. So part of this overall plea agreement we've just discussed is you're going to enter a plea to that charge of operating while intoxicated. You're going to be placed on a deferred sentence in the domestic violence charge. You're going to be referred to sobriety court for evaluation and possible participation, and I'm all in favor of it. But there are some steps we have to go through. As I indicated, because you do have 2 OUILs within 7 years, they're going to revoke your driver's license. Means it's gone for 5 years. If you do a sobriety court program, you'll be able to get it with an interlock. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than the plea agreement that the prosecutor is not going to charge you as a second offense, they are referring to sobriety court, and it's connected to the plea offer and the domestic violence charge. Did anyone promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
No, Your Honor.
to understand that if you do plead to this charge, you will be giving up your right to have a trial in this matter.
Yes, sir.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney, and I'm going to appoint Mr. Bush to represent you in this case.
Now, could you put up the conflict issue while you're doing that?
Yes, do you have any objection to Mr. Bush representing you in light of the fact that he saw you there that day?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You understand that if you had a trial, you'd have the right to testify in your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes.
Understand? All right, this was May 15th. That was a Monday. No, it was a Thursday. There's no affidavit. Was this the day that he drove to court
Yes, Your Honor.
and they gave you a breath test later and it was a 0.198? Yes, and was it Captain Morgan then also?
Yes.
So ROAs, I got about 3 left. That'll get us through the morning. Okay, Mr. Harvey, this is quite a comprehensive situation here. Mr. Harvey, I'm sorry you had to get a drunk driving to get into sobriety court. We don't have a corollary of it other than that. It's expensive and time consuming to run it. And there are some guidelines about who's admitted and who isn't, but I think you're going to fit our guidelines. All right, let's pick a sentencing date. Gonna need to set it out a little bit. Well, I might have a really good day on August 4th. I have a dentist appointment in the morning and a doctor appointment in the afternoon, but I think in between there, we could set this for 11 o'clock on Monday, August 4th. Does that work for you, John?
For some reason, I'm not getting service in here to check the computer. What day of the week is that?
That's on Monday. Let me call your office. Good morning. This is Judge Middleton. I'm here with John and Debbie Davis. I want to see if his calendar is clear for Monday, August 4th at 11. All right, put him down for James Harvey's sentence. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, according to the person that knows what's going on, you're free for that day. We got a lot to do. I need to set a bond in the drinking driving case. Bond is $500 PR. We got a lot of different orders to doing all this stuff. No drugs and no alcohol. Test upon demand of any police or probation officer. No weapons, no assaultive behavior. Pretrial services. Doesn't have it on there. Why don't you have him sign that right while he's right here? We'll get a print. We'll get contact with pretrial services. You got to call them. And you're going to need to get plugged into AA, James, because otherwise you're going to relapse real soon. And we're going to be back in it. All right, I'm hopeful here. I'm hopeful that you and Miss Wilma can get it back on track. I'm hopeful we can get from here to the sentencing date without you violating the conditions of your bond. And I'm hopeful that you can get into my sobriety court and I can get you through the domestic violence case. If you can't, the jail's always there, which you've learned. All right, they're gonna take you back. You're gonna get booked out. Got a $500 PR bond and then PR bond in the other case. So probably maybe by lunchtime, you can pick them up. Might be a little slower than that by the time they get all the paperwork there, but all right, Mr. Harvey, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, I'll be seeing you. I'll see you at your sentence, and if you go into sobriety court, I'll be seeing you all the time. All right, you're good to go.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Good luck.
25808 ST, People versus George Bernard Hiller. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hiller, you're charged with driving suspended second offense. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. It carries 2 points, requires that your license be suspended. You're here with your lawyer, Mr. Tim George. We had a arraignment. We had a pretrial with counsel, and now this is the final pretrial before jury. Mr. George, what's the status here?
Your Honor, the prosecutors offered that if my client would enter a plea to no valid operator's license under 301, they would dismiss the other charges on the ticket.
All right, that's quite a reduction. Driving suspended is a second offense, as I said, is punishable by up to a year in jail and requires your license be suspended. No valid operator's license, sometimes called no ops, is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100 plus costs. It carries 2 points, but it does not require a suspension. But your license is, I think, revoked. Are you going to plead to that lesser charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that?
No, sir.
Or promise you anything?
No, sir.
Do you understand that if you do plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will not be a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court, so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf. But you don't have to, because you have a right not to testify, and if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury cannot hold your silence against you, and you have the right to be presumed innocent, unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You understand?
Correct.
In fact, you signed the advice of rights here. I guess a belt and suspenders. I did it also for Mr. Kurt. All right, let's look at your ticket. All right, you got this ticket at 6:43 in the evening at Washington and Locust Street in Constantine. Where were you going?
I was on my way back home. I
From where?
picked up food at the town fair. I was hungry.
And did you have a valid license at that time?
No, yeah.
And they're going to dismiss the civil infraction of registration plate violation.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
All right, Mr. Robert is here. He's a busy man. Whose car were you driving?
My vehicle.
Which was 2002 Chevy pickup. What do I have to do to stop you from driving?
I was unemployed for a long time last year, and I've been trying to get my financial straits together to start working on my license.
Your license is revoked for multiple drunk driving convictions. You got a driving suspended in 2023. You got another driving suspended in 2024. And they allowed a 257,326. You were charged also, I think, Indiana with driving without an interlock device. Did you have an interlock in your car at one time?
At one time I did, yes, sir.
And you lost it?
I lost my license, yes.
Did we do it for you?
No, Your Honor, Kalamazoo County.
All right. You got 4 driving suspendeds or no ops. The most recent was a number 5, which was you got a break for allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. So they gave you a freebie last year. You didn't do what you said you were gonna do, and you keep driving. You don't need a car registered in your name. Well, it isn't even registered in your name, but that often goes hand in hand with not having a license. Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work?
Menards and Three Rivers.
How'd you lose your interlock?
I had a violation on it.
It's hard to maintain your interlock after you get out of a treatment program. But I suspect this wasn't just some random thing. I suspect it probably happened all the time. Mr. George, what's your thought?
Your Honor, I know that we had originally set this out to kind of see, what the prospects were for Mr. Hiller to get his license back. As the court knows, based on the status of his license, that's going to be a serious financial commitment and a time commitment, something that he wouldn't have been able to do during the course of this case. I know that he does tell me that now he's working and things are looking better, at least financially. He understands that, the lack of public transportation isn't really going to be an excuse for him. He is on notice that this court understands that he's had a number of these infractions, but I know the most recent one, I think, has been about a year or so ago, and I don't believe he owes anything to the court. So we'd ask the court to consider, based on what he pled to here, to consider fines and costs and an admonition that he should not be driving anymore.
I thought I did that last time. Plus, he's got a bunch of crashes. 2019 Kalamazoo Township accident. 2019 Kalamazoo drove without due care and caution. Battle Creek, improper lane use, speeding, Cass County, no valid ops in 2020. I'm not sure where this is. MSP Marshall Post traffic crash. 2023 Three Rivers PD traffic crash. Speeding charge in January of 24 with crash. Your last 3 tickets were crash. January 24, February 23, January 22, and there's another old crash down there. Mr. O'Bear, you got any words of wisdom here?
No, I think the court has covered it.
You're right, Mr. George. He doesn't owe me any money. Pays all his fines. And his DUIs were in other counties. He had an old CCW case, but I think that ended up as a misdemeanor. There is a presumption under the statute of no jail. And very rarely does anybody get jail for no ops. Fine is $75, crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, and $150 attorney fee. That's expensive, but that's the normal fine for this. You also got the registration plate charge dismissed, which will save you $120. I want to make my point. You're gonna do 1 day in jail. So when do you want to do it?
Can I do it next weekend?
Yeah. I don't know when your weekend is at Menards. Do you know what you got next weekend? That would be June 27th, Friday, or June 28th, Saturday.
Can I do the Saturday?
All right, you're gonna go to jail at 7 PM on 6/28. 1 day is probably enough to make my point. Where's the car now?
In my garage.
That's a good place for it. I sympathize with you. Our next guy, Mr. Cuellar, is kind of in the same boat as you are. Had an interlock, lost it. Needs to get where he needs to get to. You can't drive to get food or any, you can drive for a medical emergency, which would be really the only thing. Saturday, June 28th. You'll go in at 7 PM and get out at 7 PM on Sunday. Take that with you out to the jail and don't come back. You're always very polite and respectful and you keep getting a good deal, but you don't take advantage of it. The last time they gave you a 257, 326, it didn't even go on your record. And as I said, you also keep getting into crashes. You're good to go.
Your Honor,
Yes.
do you have a due date for the fines and costs?
Oh, yes, thank you. Can you pay it within 30 days or need more time than that?
I can,
We'll make that due July 28th. Let me give you an envelope. Thank you, Mr. George.
thank you.
If you need more time, come see me. All right, you're good to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Knopfinger, how are we doing in your case? All right, Mr. Kurth, would you come forward? Come forward if you would, sir. Good morning, or good afternoon. You're Michael Todd Kurth. Yes, sir. Of course, I know you, but I had to identify you for the record. Mr. Kurth, you got the same ticket as the last guy, driving suspended second. I do think driving suspended is still our most common offense. There used to be more than 30 ways to get your license suspended. It's probably still up there. At least we don't have the intolerable driver responsibility fees, but you're suspended like Mr. Hiller for a lot of old baggage. Let's talk about your ticket. You got a ticket at 5:28 AM at North Main and West Michigan Avenue, the main 4 and 3 Rivers, on February 25th. I saw you in March and you had $740 of unpaid fines. You drove to court and lied about it. Then you got a couple more tickets in 24725 ST and 241583. I don't know where those are. So we appointed an attorney and set it for pretrial May 2nd. And then the not guilty plea was continued and here we are now. Mr. O'Bear, what's the plea offer here?
Offer today is for the defendant to plead to 257, 326. The remainder would be dismissed.
All right. Well, you must have paid off all those tickets. That would make me happy. No.
On a payment plan, sir.
You're on a payment plan, yep. All right, same deal. You were a kid when you and I first met. I was younger too, a long time ago, but you got a bunch of baggage on your license and it's been carrying you around the rest of your life. Well, this is a very generous plea offer. It is a charge that carries no points, doesn't get abstracted to your license, won't affect your ability to keep or maintain a license, and it doesn't even go on your driving record. So are you gonna plead to that charge?
Yes, sir.
Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that?
No,
Or promise you anything?
no.
All right, you were here just a minute ago and I went through the advice of rights with Mr. Hiller, and again, for your benefit. Where were you going at 5:30 in the morning on that day?
Work
That's what I assume. Where do you work?
down, Elkhart.
Where at?
Satellite.
The only people that are driving at 5:30 are people who have been up all night or they're on their way to one of the shops in Elkhart, Indiana, or down there where that starts so early in the morning. Yeah, I talked to you in February and I talked to you again in May. So you did go set up a payment plan?
Yeah, I've been paying it every month. I made a payment today. No
All
more.
right. Which is probably why they gave you this plea offer. Your baggage, I was still prosecutor,
Yeah,
was way back when, in the late 90s and 2000s. And you got a lot of it. I think you got 5 OUILs when you were a kid, and they've caused you to be suspended all this time.
and I quit drinking
Yeah, some time ago.
long time ago.
Problem is the driver license appeal division's got a real long memory.
Yeah.
And you can't just go in there and say, hey, I quit drinking.
I know.
Well, they want to know a lot of stuff. They want to know, are you in treatment? Are you doing this? Are you in support group? When did you have your last drink? I don't have the authority to give you a license, but I've seen you a little bit. You haven't had a drink in 10 years or more?
Yeah, it's been longer than, probably longer than that. Yeah.
Well, if you were going at that rate, you'd probably be dead by now. So it was a good thing that at some point so then you started the driving suspended merry-go-round, 2008.
Yeah. One of the times I was on my way up to Kalamazoo to the driver bureau.
To where?
Up to the driving bureau up in Kalamazoo.
Oh.
I had an appointment and I had nobody take me.
And then you had a no ops. So I guess this isn't terrible, but you're gonna have a bunch added. Now, Mr. Hiller got one of these last year and this year he went to jail. So I guess my advice to you is this won't go on your driving record, so it won't affect your ability to try to get your license restored, but it's hard. It's like the biblical getting a camel through the eye of the needle. I'm never quite sure what that meant, but it means it's hard.
That's been hard trying to get it.
Did you ever have a lawyer?
I did for a little while and then. But there, I gotta get another one for it.
Maybe important.
I think it would be important that you do.
Judge, he was pulled over for having a third brake light out. I think that's.
Yes, I
important
think I
to
saw that on the ticket. But the deal is, he's been driving back and forth to work every day. How you
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
back and forth to work now?
I've got somebody over there. I know my son was working there with me.
All right, that's a plus. They didn't take you to jail for this, did they?
No,
All right, well, this is expensive. $100 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $150 attorney fee. That's $375. Part of a payment plan. You did have some other stuff. You quit drinking, but you were messing around with some other stuff. in this.
yeah, that's part two. I don't even mess with that no more.
All right. Couple factors. You were driving to work. I believe that's true. Your really last one was 2008, and then another one in 2024. No ops in possession, which was another sweet deal. But you saw it here. If you come back, I guess you'll spend some time in jail, so don't come back, at least not for this. I want you to go out to the counter and see the clerks and put this on your payment plan. You did make a payment today. All right. I make a rule, everybody has to make all their payments before I retire. So you got a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Everything's due in a year, everything's due December 31st, 2026.
I got you.
December 30th.
30th. Oh, yes, December 30th. All right, we got Mr. Moore and we got Mr.
Okay.
George, you're here on Joe Frederick.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's free you up because Josh is going to be here for the duration. That's the only one you got left?
Yes.
We'll have a plea shortly on Frederick.
All right, I can move on to something else. Ms. Montauk, do you have anything for me?
I have all three cases ready.
All right, well, let's go to those. Let's start with Miss Ashley K. Askovich. Are you guys together or you just up sitting next to each other?
Sitting next to each other.
Okay, I didn't know, maybe you knew each other or rode together or something.
No, last time I was in here, it got real busy, so I wasn't gonna spread out too much.
All right, yes, some days are busy. Usually the day that your lawyer is here is very busy.
That's true.
All right, Ms. Askovich, you got charged with operating with a high blood alcohol level. And minor possessing, consuming alcohol and impeding traffic. I don't know why they felt they needed to add an impeding traffic in there, but they did. The most serious charge obviously is the operating with a high blood alcohol level. That is the highest level of first offense drinking driving. It's punishable by up to 180 days in jail and a fine of up to $750 plus costs. Requires that your license be suspended. And this kind of split apart. And it carries 6 points. They didn't used to be able to write this on a ticket, but they can now. It happened at 131 and King Road in Fabius Township. That's out between the landfill and Jones, just this side of the county line. Mr. O'Bear, what's the plea offer here?
First, the defendant to plead to impaired driving. The remainder would be dismissed.
Ms. Askovich, that's probably about as good as it was going to get under these circumstances. I'm sure your lawyer did some arm twisting, but I'm surprised you twisted it this hard because this is a pretty good plea offer. Let's talk about it. Operating while impaired is a lesser charge of the others. It's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail, fine of up to $300 plus costs. Carries a maximum 4 points, but very importantly, would allow you to keep a restricted driver's license to drive back and forth to work or in the course of employment. You understand?
Yes.
Ms. Montague, you agree with the plea offer?
I do, Your Honor.
I don't know if I went through the rights while you were here, so I might as well do it all for everybody that's here. I think you're about, no, you were in here when I went through it the first time.
Yes.
All right, do you understand you're giving those rights up by entering this plea?
Yes.
All right, where were you going?
Arby's.
Now, you live in Constantine
I do, yes.
and you were driving to Arby's in Three Rivers?
Yes.
I joke about this, but it's not really a joke. A high percentage of our drunk driving cases are people going to fast food places. This was only 11 o'clock at night. But sometimes they fall asleep in the drive-through line. The clerks will call the police and say, hey, this person just went through my line. Did you go through the drive-through?
Yep.
What were you drinking?
It was mixers. Just some tequila, I believe. It's in
Well, that'll
Mexico.
do it. What was the blood alcohol here, Mr. O'Bear?
Do you have it in front of you,
It was-
Sarissa?
Oh, actually, I don't. I have the other ones. I can, second.
It was a 0.2.
Maybe I know from something.
Yeah, it was a 0.209.
That's about 2.5 times the legal limit. Now, if you looked at a map, it looks like it's a straight line from Constantine to Arby's. But it goes like this. And it's 2-lane. And there have been 50, maybe more fatal accidents between where you were and where Arby's was. There's been a bunch of them at the Big Hill. One night, 2 drunk people hit each other. Wasn't clear who crossed the center line, but both drivers were over the legal limit and they were both killed on the Big Hill. And there's been a zillion of them at the intersection south of there and at Broadway and Millard. Anyway, you told me a little bit before, what do you do?
I'm a dog groomer.
Where were you drinking this stuff? Was it at a party?
No, it was at my own house. I was with a friend. Yes. She was there earlier that night.
All right, well, I'm sure your attorney told you, we need to set this for something called screening and sentencing. And so we need to pick a date to put this. And we're always a little tough at this time of year. I have a vacation in July and Judge P's gone, and then we have some conferences. Sarissa, are you available on Monday, July 14th at 11?
I am.
I want you to take this out to the counter. I'll give you a time and date to come back for the screening. Why did they stop you? Do you know?
So I was pulled over eating my Arby's because I didn't feel so great.
So she pulls herself over. Essentially,
All right.
it just wasn't in a very.
That's
good
the
spot.
impeding traffic component. I like Arby's too, but not at a 0.20. All right, you seem like a nice young woman. We'll find out more about this. Maybe this is an eye opener that'll last you the rest of your life. We'll set this for sentencing on July 14th at 11. We'll get the screening and sentencing before then. All right, you're free to go. I'll see you then. Bocephus Cuellar. This is Bocephus. I know him as Bo Cuellar. File number is 25306ST. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're charged with driving suspended first and refusing a preliminary breath test. That one scared me. Driving suspended is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Refusing a preliminary breath test is a civil infraction that carries an odd fine of $165. Mr. O'Bear, what's the status here?
Well, the defendant's gonna enter a plea today. to allowing another to violate motor vehicle code MCL 257-326. The remainder of the ticket will be dismissed.
Do you have a police report in that one?
Yes.
Just send me that. I want to know about this PBT. Well, Mr. Cuellar, 257-326 is a misdemeanor, but it's a very minor one. It's punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $100. Carries no points, and it doesn't get abstract to your driving record. You understand?
Yes, sir.
We just did one of these. And you also heard me go through the rights.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a look at your ticket. Let me see. Harassment complaint at Applebee's.
Got in an argument with my daughter's mother in the process of going to pick up some stuff.
The driver, both Cuellar refused a PBT, was driving with a revoked license. He was trespassed from Applebee's. Did she work there?
Yeah, she works there.
You smell like booze. That's disappointing. Had one shot about 6 o'clock. You can't have one shot. Did you get sent to the SOS for refusing the preliminary breath test?
What's that?
No,
Good.
Your Honor, may I speak to that?
Yes.
He wouldn't, Your Honor. That's just a civil infraction. There was
Yes.
no request for a chemical test.
All right. Strong smell of intoxicants. Well, we'll never know. You were going to Applebee's for what purpose?
Pick up some bags for the kids that were in their mom's car.
All right, so the same kind of visitation custody issues you had when I knew you?
Yes, yeah, yes.
Your kids are big now. They must all be teenagers or even
Two of them
graduate.
just, well, yeah, I seen it at the graduation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
my
I saw
oldest
your
one out there.
graduation night. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But this is under the category of DUMB.
I was so frustrated. I just wanted to go home, Your Honor, and my kids were at home. And like I said, we got in an argument. I just was exhausted.
Again, you got a bunch of old baggage. You got a 257-326 last year. 241995 ST. You got 3 drunk drivings, which revoked your license. I got you an interlock, and apparently you lost it. How'd you lose your interlock?
I couldn't pay for it anymore. That's why I had them remove it.
And I said, it's hard to keep it. But, and the only thing I say about it, it's better than not having it.
Oh, I regret that decision wholeheartedly.
Now this won't show up on your driving record.
Yes.
I don't even think the refused PBT will. But whose car was this?
My grandma's.
She could be charged with allowing an unlicensed driver to drive. Let's see what I told you when I saw you last year.
Sir, can you explain the 3 DUIs?
He thinks he only has 2 DUIs.
There were 2 in Adrian. I'll click on it in a minute.
Oh, I know you're talking about now. One of them was for under the influence of marijuana.
Oh,
Excuse me.
okay.
Yeah, I was just confused.
They were way back before I knew you.
Yeah, I think I was like 2007, 2008 or something along there.
Because your OUIL was charged as a third. What got you into sobriety court was charged as a felony third offense. It was reduced to a misdemeanor.
Well, that makes sense. It's the marijuana one. is-
Yeah, okay, I didn't, maybe forgot that part, but, well, let's talk about last time, 2024.
Was that the driver without the license?
Driver license suspended or revoked, 1:19 PM, Maine and Michigan and Three Rivers. They reduced it to 257-326. Andy Rognus was here at that time. You made your payment. I said, if you do this again, I'm gonna give you 5,000 days in jail.
Also,
No, it doesn't say that. Maybe I just thought it. All right. This won't go on your driving record. $75 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee. As far as I know, you've paid everything. You also get 1 day in jail, which we're gonna serve on a weekend to impart the fact that you can't drive a car. When do you want to do it?
Not this weekend, next weekend.
All right, you can serve it at the same time as Mr. Hiller. We'll do it at 7 p.m. Saturday, June 28th. You guys can play Go Fish and talk about not wanting to do this anymore. Yeah, I talked about seeing you at graduation. I'd seen your kids that night at that bowling thing, and I know they're very important to you. But this ain't the answer to that question. This is all a pain in the neck for the jail staff. But fine and costs don't seem to be answering the question. And I am concerned about that shot. Anyway, there's nothing that says you can't drink. You can drink. You're not on probation or parole, but you know where it leads. All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I gotta give an envelope too for the fine. Just a minute, sorry. Did the same thing I did the last time. $200 by 7. Miriam Fred. File number 25364, People versus Miriam Fred. I met you at your arraignment. You've retained Sarissa Montag as your attorney. Let's recap the charge here. All right, this alleges that on February 9th, you assaulted your daughter, who was under the age of 18. They charge it as domestic assault on a minor child. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. According to the affidavit, you were very upset about essentially your daughter staying out all night. As far as I can tell, you have no criminal record of any kind that I could see. Mr. O'Bear, what's the status here?
Based on new information received, our office is now going to proceed with prosecution of this matter. We'll file a nollie with the court.
Ms. Montag, I'm assuming you have no objection to that?
I don't have any objection, Your Honor. I guess I just would like to follow up with saying that the newly found information was this young woman suffers from really serious mental health issues. I can tell you that Mrs. Fred and her husband, who's here in the court today, have worked really, really hard to try to get her the help that she needs. She's in treatment now. It's hard when someone who works really hard gets, to raise a child, gets brought here as really the result of mental health issues that someone else is following. But I appreciate the prosecutor's willingness to look at what we presented and dismiss the case.
Well, we've had a number of cases with children with disabilities, autism, other disabilities, where the parents just lose it after much frustration. But in this case, the matter is going to be dismissed, and you'll file a nollie cross and we'll make it good.
Yes, I'm also going to say, Your Honor, this was not one of those cases. I understand what you're talking about, but this was, I don't want anyone to think.
All right, well, I wasn't there, so but all I know is the matter is going to be dismissed, and I don't have any quarrel with that. All right, there was no bond. There was a PR bond. So you're free to go.
Thank you,
I'll give your bond money back, but I don't have any, so.
Thank you, John.
All right, thank you. All right, that leaves us with Mr. Moore, who has. Oh, and we got Mr. Engelmeyer, who is yours. Is he here?
Yes.
Good, all right, we'll take him last, but we got two, are you aware there's another case?
I represent them on both cases.
All right, and the other case was set for tomorrow, but I bumped it to today. I figured if we're all here, we could address it all at the same time.
We'll be resolving everything.
All right, very good, thank you. There's Mr. Moore. Just keep that. Mr. O'Bear, I've been trying to help. I think I've accelerated 3 of Judge P's pretrials for tomorrow and took care of them, including one today. So if you think tomorrow's bad, July 11th is gonna be very busy.
Oh, that's so weird. Just scheduled a vacation for that day.
I don't blame you a bit. I go on vacation after that. But it's gonna be a very busy day. All right, are you Rebecca Karen Bales? Here with your lawyer, Mr. David Moore. Ms. Bales, you're charged with 2 counts of domestic assault. It's alleged that on April 12th, you assaulted Travis Loker, your spouse, 2 counts. Domestic violence is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. It would prohibit you from using or possessing a firearm. Again, Mr. Josh Robert, the Chief Assistant Prosecutor, is here. Mr. Robert, what's the status here?
Your Honor, we'd ask for an adjournment of this case. After speaking to the attorney, I believe that the defendant is willing to participate in an anger management class. Looking for proof that that is completed and discuss the file.
Where are you doing it?
This is something we
will
just
be done.
discussed
Oh,
today.
we'll be doing it. Well, if you want to know how to do ours, check in with our probation department. You still live on North Main Street? Where do you work?
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. Is Bales your maiden name or a married name?
Maiden.
I went to school with a Karen Bales. I don't know, is that your aunt? Or just a coincidence?
Coincidence.
All right. She was older than me, but all right, Mr. Moore, you know if you're scheduled to be here for anything in the near future?
No, I don't. I mean, but we can be here. It's
Well,
not an issue.
I'm gonna reset a Thursday afternoon. I just didn't know if you had one coming, but again, I'm going to be, there's a no contact order in place, and that's always cumbersome for the parties. Where are you staying?
Your Honor, I think actually in this case, there is not a no contact
I'm
order.
gonna take a
It's
look.
been highly unusual.
Bond conditions. No alcohol, no contact. Doesn't say a name. No weapons. It happened on April 21st. Yeah, he didn't check the no contact provisions. He must have had a reason for it. No assault. So everybody's in the same house? Are you available Thursday, August 7th at 2 o'clock?
Yes.
If something is worked out between you and the prosecutor's office and there's a conditional dismissal or dismissal, nobody needs to be here, but if it isn't, we'll do it at that time. I have a women's anger management class, which is what you need to be in, not just a generic one. We have one that's specifically for women. Women have different issues than men. Sometimes they're actually victims of domestic violence as well. Can't always tell, but it's a different situation, and that's the class I would prefer that she be in. And they all like it. They all say, we're sorry that it's over. And So you can check with our probation department on how to enroll in it. Ms. Bales, you have any questions? All right, stay in contact with your lawyer. Unless the matter is otherwise resolved, I'll see you on August 7th at 2 o'clock. Mr. Frederick, could you come up and have a seat? All right, this is an ordinance case. People versus Joseph J. Frederick, file number 25330OT. Mr. Frederick is charged with driving suspended. We missed a day, but I don't think you got notice from your boss, or from your attorney, so you weren't here, so we reset it for today. This is a case of not easy or simple. It's a driving suspended first offense charge. Defendant, I don't think is headed for, he's got some bad stuff on his driving record, but I don't think he's had a DWLS. It was a simple speeding on Portage Street, which anybody could do, that resulted in this. Your last ticket was 2012. Mr. George, what's the status here?
Thank you, Your Honor. We were waiting for Mr. Moore to provide some documentation to us, which he has done. So in light of that, excuse me, we're going to offer a 257-326 to resolve this file.
All right, Mr. Frederick, you've been here several times. You've seen a whole bunch of court this spring. You probably wish you didn't, but you've watched a lot of cases go through here. 257-326 is the case that is a misdemeanor, but it doesn't result in anything being on your driving record and doesn't carry any points. It does carry a fine of up to $100 and $125 of cost. You understand?
Yes.
Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that?
No.
I promise you anything?
No.
I believe, were you in here when I went through the advice of rights?
Yes.
All right, this is just a regular day. You're driving down Portage Street. Where were you going?
I was on my way home from work.
And you still work at Hank's?
Yes.
He may be the most famous bartender in St. Joe County. Anyway, he's been there for years. Everybody knows him. He survived several different ownerships, and he's the one of the constants in there. So the scary thing is you probably were doing this all the time, just get back and forth to work. How'd you happen to drive that day?
Oh, my ride wasn't awake.
All right. I'll say this also for Hank's, and I think I gave him a heart. As a rule, they've done pretty good to make sure that I don't get too many drunk drivers out of there. I got a bad one during the day a year or two ago, but they do a pretty good job of getting people home, calling a cab or making sure they drive with someone else. So I've always respected that about it. All right. You haven't had any tickets since 2012. Have you started the process to try to get your license back?
I've tried a few times and was denied. And I was waiting to see what happens with this.
Judge, of course, the license restoration process is that process. So he's going to AA, getting things around as far as his application. Once we're satisfied he's got enough AA to have an impact, have him get an assessment and the screening so that all that's fresh and you can send it in.
Well, the court no longer has anything to do with giving people's license back.
Right.
The absurd thing is, if you got arrested for drunk driving, I could put you in sobriety court and get you a driver's license with an interlock. I don't suggest that you do that. That's the only way that a district judge has authority to get anybody a license. But you had that old case. I was prosecutor when it happened, and before it was resolved, I'd become judge, or somebody died. And that's at the bottom of this. But you haven't had any drinking driving convictions in 14 years. You haven't even had a ticket in 14 years. So I had a guy in here today, Mr. Kurth, you saw him. I don't believe he's had a drink in 10 years, but they don't care. It's like, well, how do I know you haven't had a drink in 10 years? Have you gone to AA? Well, no, I stopped drinking in 2006. They still want you to go to AA. I don't make those rules, but like I said, it's a difficult process. You don't live very far away from work, and that's a blessing. All right, this carries a $100 fine, $75 crime victims rates fee, and a $50 state minimum fee, $225. You pay that by July 18th.
Oh, I can pay today.
Oh, no, okay. Mr. Moore's office does some driver license restoration. There are a number of others in Kalamazoo that do it. Mr. Taylor's office runs an ad that says it's a process, and it is a process, and it's a hard one. So I don't have any objection to you getting your license back, but you got a break on this one because this won't show up and shouldn't affect your ability to do it. So Mr. Moore, you go out with Mr. Frederick, he can pay his fine and you guys are done, and I'll see you next time I'm in the restaurant.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to Mr. Truckee and Kevin Engelmeyer.
Yes, you. Do you have the PPO in next door?
Yeah, I'm just coming in. Are you just coming out of it?
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Okay.
I'm here.
I'm late.
I told Judge
You're late.
Patterson, I told Judge Patterson.
I told him I'm appearing on the record, so we'll talk.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good, yeah.
Thank you for your patience. Somebody always ends up being last, and today that's you. But this is a little tricky. There's a case set for today and a case set for tomorrow. And I asked for tomorrow's case to see if we could address it right now. Let's talk about today's case. That is file 25.
Eight one three was set for tomorrow.
Yeah, 513 is set for today, but the cases aren't in here. I might have accidentally nexted them, so let me get back into it. All right. 25513. Alleges that on or about March 21st in Centerville that you assaulted Vikky Harbison, a member of your household, and inflicted an aggravated injury on her facial bone. That's charged as aggravated domestic violence. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. That's set for a last pretrial today. The other case is set for an attorney pretrial tomorrow. That's 25813. It was in front of Judge Patterson, and I pulled it over on this side. In that case, it alleges that on or about May 1st that you assaulted Carrie Engelmeyer, your spouse. Those are both misdemeanors, punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. And that allegedly happened in the city of Three Rivers. Judge Patterson got your arraignment, and that's how it got set in front of him. All right, Mr. Josh Robert, Chief Assistant, is here, and it's fortunate that Mr. Truckee represents you on both of these, so we can address these at the same time. Mr. Robert, is there a plea offer here?
There is. The plea offer is we offer 1 count of domestic violence first offense. We'd ask the court to take the plea under advisement for 6 months, set the sentencing date out. The defendant does not get in any new criminal trouble. It complies with his open DHHS case. Would stipulate to withdrawing the plea at the time of sentencing and allowing the defendant to plead to disturbing the peace. And that would encompass both of his open files.
Who would the plea be on?
Be on Vikky Harbison, that's 513.
All right, Mr. Engelmeyer, this is an interesting and somewhat novel plea agreement. You've got an aggravated domestic assault where you allegedly broke Vikky Harbison's eye socket. Who is Vikky Harbison to you?
My sister.
The prosecutors agreed to reduce that to a charge of domestic assault, first offense. That's punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. They've offered to do a delayed sentence. There's a specific court order for that. I use. I would set the sentence for December. I just set one this morning. I'm going to set this for December 15th. The terms are comply with DHS case. What's the nature of that case?
It's a foster care case. Mr. Engelmeyer's 2 sons. He's under that case required to participate in counseling, regular drug testing, parenting education, things of that nature.
All right.
I represent him in that file as well.
All right, that's very helpful. They would dismiss outright without prejudice. Two 5-8-1-3. You're on bond on the aggravated domestic assault when you got arrested on the new domestic assault. That makes us all look bad. Carrie Engelmeyer is your spouse.
There's an active divorce file. I believe they're scheduled for June 30th to finalize that. That was pending at the time of the assault or shortly after. They've been separated for quite some time.
Oh, she alleges you hit her in the mouth and broke her tooth. Anyway, you called her a lying bitch. That case is going to get dismissed. Is there a PPO in that case?
Ms. Engelmeyer holds a PPO against Mr. Engelmeyer. Judge Kane has also ordered him not to have contact with her not to have contact with him.
But she keeps.
All right, don't say much. And you're on that case too.
I don't represent him in the PPO file at this time, at least.
All right, well, let's talk about this. I don't know if you were in here. Do you understand that if you plead to this domestic violence charge with this plea agreement, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial? There won't be a trial. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
If there was a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Truckey's been appointed on both of these cases. You could also hire an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury cannot hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, got all that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's go back to the other case. That happened here in Centerville, correct?
Yes,
Whose house was it at?
it wasn't at a house.
It's in a car.
I was in my sister's car.
All right. Did you and she get into an argument?
Yes,
And did you hit her in the face?
yes, after she, I mean,
All right. Now, you had a meth case last year, 24, I think, and Judge Stutzman just gave you a couple days in jail, but you're not on probation or parole or anything in the circuit court.
no, no.
You also got in an accident between then and now.
Yes.
How are you doing from that?
I mean, I'm still recovering a little bit. I mean, quite a bit happened to me, but I just recently got released to go back to work.
Where do you work?
American Axle. But I have to get another release form stating a date that I can actually start, because I didn't have that on there, so.
So is he testing for his CPS case?
Yes, Your Honor, I was actually just flipping through my old reports. I'll provide those to you if you like. Got reports going back to February of this year and consistent negatives. There's a few alcohol.
When's the
positives.
most recent?
The most recent drug screen I have in my possession is from April. Continued negatives. And that I get them quarterly, so I'm not gonna have another batch for a while, but I can get that from the department if you'd like to look at this testing.
All right. What are the conditions of the delayed sentence? No new charges for
Yeah, no
operating
new
CPS?
criminal activity and continuing to comply with the DHS case.
And let's look at his bond conditions. Yeah, they did file a violation of bond for the one that happened when he was on probation. All right, no drugs and no alcohol, no contact with Vikky Harbison. No assaultive or threatening behavior. Take a test upon demand of any police probation. You can't drink while you're on this probation. When you're on bond, you're on a deferred status, but you don't get relief from the conditions of your bond. If Vikky Harbison wants to have contact with you, I guess she can come tell us.
Mr. Engelmeyer is on a community corrections tether, and I inquire about the necessity for that as well.
Very good. To your credit, Mandy from Community Corrections texted me. Kevin Engelmeyer has been on pretrial supervision since March 25. He continues to check in and is doing well with Community Corrections. If you have any questions, please feel free to call me. So that's probably in part why the prosecutor was willing to give you this plea offer. All right, I'm set for sentence. December 15th at 10:30. I set another one for Mr. Bush at the same time. I'm gonna give you a notice, you'll get a formal one, but how do you figure into this equation here? You've been here in court a lot with one person or another. I'm gonna give you a badge for perfect attendance, but how do you fit into this one? All right, are you helping him with this whole thing?
Yeah.
She actually wrote a very nice letter about Kevin today. I believe she is a help to separate him from the ex-wife, which has been a big issue.
Keep him separated from drugs and alcohol, and that would be good. Monday, December 15th. 2025 at 10:30. For delayed sentence. All right, Mr. Engelmeyer. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You don't need to appear for your pretrial tomorrow. You just took care of that matter just now.
Does that mean I can not come tomorrow? too?
No, you have 27 other cases, but he cannot come.
Good try.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, Judge. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Thank you, Kevin. Take care of yourself. You won't be